Hey guys, how are we doing? Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024, and as predicted, or as is what is usual here in the Macedon Ranges, today is a pretty average day. After yesterday was quite warm and sunny and muggy, today's overcast, wet, and a little bit chilly. So anyway, we get on with the day. Now the subject of today's little video that we're going to do is that for the last 3 days, all us Aussie boxing fans have been walking around dragging our lips, moping, looking at all the YouTube shows and all the social media accounts, and woe is me or woe is us, and the world's coming to an end. What becomes of Australian boxing? Well guys, today's video is a little bit of, let's just take a step back, maybe splash a bit of water in our faces and just look at how healthy Australian boxing is at the moment, even without Tim Tszyu. Now Tim Tszyu, like it or not, is going to be sort of out of the picture for a little bit, if you will. We've discussed it the last 3 days in length. Him and his team have got a lot of decisions to make, and they're going to have to make some hard calls on his career. More importantly, Tim is going to have to make those hard calls, maybe in conjunction with, well, maybe about some of those people in his organisation, if you want to call it that. So, but as I said, let's go over some of the things that are good about Australian boxing at the moment. Even if you look at the Australian media in the last few days as well, it's like, well, that's it now, Tim's gone, so I suppose that's it. We're going to have to wait for the next Tim Tszyu to come along, or before that was Jeff Horn, and before that was, well, George Cambos, and before that was Jeff Fennick and Anthony Mundine, all the rest of them. Oh no, what are we going to write about now? Does anyone even exist in Australian boxing out there other than Tim? Well, we know that's not the case anyway, but you get where I'm going. But I think we just, as I said, have to pick our lips up and move on and look at, again, what's great at the moment. Let's start at the top. This is the main man. This is Jai Patai. This is the universally recognised #1 pound-for-pound fighter in Australia, of course, but the #1 cruiserweight in the world as well. I mean, he's just come off his second, third defence, whatever it is, looking at big fights against Chris Billam-Smith, Zurdo Ramirez, other fighters out there, but it's not the cruiserweight fights that I'm sort of looking at. I'm looking at heavyweight. I can't wait till he does the Alexander Usyk and moves up. And for all the naysayers out there that say he can't do it, he's too small, well, just look at Alexander Usyk. And I know this might, or a lot of people will disagree with this, but I see Jai Patai being just as talented what Alexander Usyk was when he decided to go from cruiserweight up to heavyweight. So that's probably the top of the tree as far as guys. Just simply look at Jai Patai. Look what he's doing and look what he's going to do. And look, maybe down the track he's going to take an L as well. It just happens in boxing, but at the moment, for me, plenty to look forward to with Jai. And then, look, underneath him is probably the #2 Aussie pound-for-pound fighter in the world. What are you doing there, Neil? He's all tangled up there. Liam Paro. I mean, coming off that unbelievable win over Subriel Matias earlier in the year, he's now backing up with his first defence against Richardson Hitchens. Strangely enough in Puerto Rico again, but whatever, I don't care if it's in Timbuktu, it doesn't matter. He's doing great things on the world stage and pretty much has received zero coverage from the Australian media, but what else do you expect? And Liam Paro just flying the flag for the Aussies out there at the moment. So just those two alone, Opatai and Liam Paro. Then we go to look at what George Cambos has done in the last couple of years. Now I know he's lost his last fight to Vasily Lomachenko, but the guy just did a 15,000 crowd stadium fight a few months back. Before that, bought the two biggest fights probably Australia's seen in some time in the Devin Haney fights, and of course we all know about the Lopez fights in the past as well. So, you know, he's got plenty more to go. He's got a fight apparently being announced before the end of the year. So again, George Cambos makes another run at it. Then we've got Sammy Goodman. Regardless of what you think about his chances against Naoya Inoue, the fact that we're going to have another Aussie fighting for the undisputed world title Yes, it's Japan. Yes, it's a tough ask. I get it. But the fact that we've got another Aussie fighting on the world stage for the undisputed title, Christmas Eve, whatever it is, the fact he's just there. Guys, let's get behind him and acknowledge what a unbelievable effort it is to get this opportunity. And, as I said, he's up against it, but plenty to look forward to in that. I mean, on a lesser extent, Dana Coolwell was about to hit the world stage on the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson undercard next month. I mean, massive card in November, probably the most watched boxing card of all time about to happen. And no, it's not the biggest fight of all time, of course it's not, but it is a massive, massive event. And it's free on Netflix, which means, as I said, it will be the most watched card ever. Now, whether a lot of those fans will watch the undercard, I don't know, but still, the fact he's actually on the card, I mean, let's give him his due. Earlier in the year, of course, we had Liam Wilson. Not sure what's going to happen with him going forward. I've got him on my list as well to mention a little bit later. But we've also got the Maloney boys. Now, I know they might be slightly on the outer at the moment as well. But the fact that they're both coming off world title fights, yes, they were losses, but they're going to recharge or reboot or go again. There's talk that Andrew will fight mid-December in his comeback. And looks like Jason is looking for a fight over in Japan, probably early next year, I would say. Now, look, he's had 2 fights this year, so I don't see the rush in him coming back before the end of the year, but that's the talk at the moment. He might fight in Japan. Look at who else we got there? Sky Nicholson. She's WBC featherweight world champion, looking maybe down the track at a fight with Amanda Serrano. Depends on probably what happens with Serrano and Katie Taylor next month. So in my opinion, she'll end up in the top 10 pound for pound for sure with the women's, but she might have a big fight with Tiara Brown coming up. I think she fought 3 times this year, I think. Whatever it is, but doing great things as Sky Nicholson for the Aussies, as well as just female boxing in general. So hopefully we'll get that fight with Tara Brown. We've got another female world champion in Shanika Johnson. She won her world title earlier in the year, a 2nd world title, so she's doing great things, and who knows what will come of her down the track. And also Shay Keneally. Now, I know there was a lot of, let's say, feedback about Shay Keneally's WBA title fight, but at the end of the day, while I don't agree with the weight divisions and the watering down of these belts and everything, the fact that she's got that belt around her waist, good on her. So she's another current world champion. So that's probably the fighters on the world stage. But just at domestic level, Justice Honey, heavyweight, what is he capable of down the track? Yes, there's been some arguments he might be a little bit small or can't hit enough or whatever it might be, but the guy, I've got no doubt, will be in the top 10 of the heavyweights very, very soon, and a big fan of Justice. So, and under the tutelage of Mick Francis at Tasman Fighters, he could go on to do anything. So he's at heavyweight. You go through the weight divisions there. Light heavyweight, Connor Wallace. I mean, I know he's pretty much an Irishman based here in Australia, but we'll claim him anyway. Paulo Akuso at light heavyweight as well. Doing great things as well. So, he's just got to get his promotional situation sorted out first. And who knows what Paulo Akuso can do. Then we go down to the middleweights. And just last weekend, Matteo Tapia. Yes, okay, he might have been lucky to get the draw, but on the world stage, on a big card in the States, he's going to get some big fights going forward. And who knows what he can achieve. And also, of course, at middleweight, everyone's favourite bad boy, Michael Zarafa. Now, whether he gets the fight with Tim Tszyu or not, he's got some options as well. I would actually like to see Tapia and Michael Zarafa fight each other. But either way, plenty of depth there at middleweight. Then we go down to super welterweight, 154. And there's little brother Nikita Tszyu there. He's sort of coming through the ranks. And also, with Nikita as well. Now, he'll probably, I think go back to the domestic scene a little bit with, I'd say, Michael Zarafa now more focusing on maybe Big Brother down the track, but it might give them an opportunity to maybe develop Nikita a little bit more without that pressure of having to fight Michael Zarafa. So some big fights coming ahead for Nikita. Wade Ryan, the boogeyman, as they say. He's probably had this is almost as many losses as he has wins, but he just keeps hanging in there, keeps upsetting fighters. Now he had the draw against Inoue just recently, former Tim Tszyu opponent, and not to say he's going to go on and do great things, but you know, he's in big fights at the moment. And little Alex Winwood, now he's just obviously come off a world title loss, but geez, he's got a massive, massive future, has Alex Winwood. So maybe a little bit early for him to win that world title, but I've got no doubt another 4 or 5 fights under the belt and he'll be fighting for another version of that belt, and I've got no doubt he will win a version of that belt. Now, credit to him as well. Obviously, he went for the main man of the division, didn't work out, but as I said, I really think he can win a version at some stage. And then with the girls, we just mentioned Sky and Shanika and Shay. Not sure what's going to be happening with Ebony Bridges. She's, of course, pregnant at the moment, so congratulations to her, but she's going to be out for quite some time. Not quite sure what's going to happen with Shannon O'Connell. There's maybe some decisions that have to be made there, and whether she continues on and what happens with with the bump on her head and the cut and everything else that happened to her in her last fight. So, but with the other girls, we've got Taylor Robinson, Jazzy Parr, Desley Robinson, Kay Scott, all capable of fighting and winning female world title. So, and that's just to mention just a few of the girls that are doing great things. So then even on the domestic scene, even look at some of the domestic level fighters who maybe aren't at that potential world level, but still just good, honest fighters who can put on good fights amongst each other. And just a couple offhand, we're not sure what's going to happen with Isaac Hardman, but if he comes back, I mean, could we see a fight with the likes of either Joel Camilleri, Ben Mahoney, Benny Hussein, Koa Mazudia? All these guys together could create some really, really good fights here in Australia. So lots to look forward to there if it happens. Even at welterweight, Jason Malia, there's Joel Taylor together. Actually, the lightweights are probably a division that's got a little bit of interest at the moment. Of course, Liam Wilson, I mentioned before, fought for a world title. He's fought for the world title a couple of times, but could he fight Ibrahim Bella in a big Aussie fight? Jalen Tate's going to be on the comeback as well. So there's plenty of options there and fighters there. So I suppose what I'm trying to get at, guys, is that yes, it was devastating what happened to Tim, but let's not, as they say, throw the baby out with the bathwater. We've got so many good prospects there, and I'm sure in the comments someone will mention a fighter that I've just completely forgotten about. That is the level of depth that we have in this country at the moment. So it's actually probably a good thing that I've probably forgotten 1 or 2 fighters there, or potential fights that might happen. I mean, give me your opinions on some of the potential fights we could make just in Australia alone, and we're going to need them, by the way, because if No Limit don't suddenly have a lot of content to provide us with the Foxtel contract, which apparently ends this year, by the way, then there might be some issues with that as well. So yeah, I was thinking about it last night, and I just made the notes that, geez, even with Tim's situation, Australian boxing is in a good place. So let me know your thoughts. Just quickly on some other news there, we're about to launch the Alexander Usyk Tyson Fury rematch. The press conference, I think, is tomorrow. So we are underway. It is about 8 or 9 weeks before that fight. And yeah, all systems go, and I'm not quite, obviously probably being Saudi Arabia, I'm probably thinking the press conference, but good news, geez, it's come around quick. Just seemed like yesterday we viewed that fight, and I can't wait for that, to be honest. And what a month that's going to be, or is it the 21st? Yeah, it is, isn't it? December 21st? It is, yeah. And then of course we've got Sam Goodman and they in Hawaii on Christmas Eve, so that'll be a big Christmas week. But yeah, looking forward to that. And yeah, that's probably about it, guys, today. I suppose it was just more about the state of Australian boxing, and just a bit of advice, just keep it real and just look at what we have, and it's not always just about one fighter. This boxing scene in Australia has never been healthier. There's never been more opportunities for our fighters. There's never been more exposure to Australian boxers at the moment. Sorry guys, I'm just walking under a canopy here. Neil's decided to go off course here a little bit. There's never been, you know, the amateurs coming through. And that's probably another thing I haven't even mentioned is the amateurs. We've got a great amateur boxing team, and they'll all probably turn pro, most of them. So maybe it's just me. Let me know your thoughts. I just think we've got a lot to look forward to in Australian boxing. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about the fighters coming through and the opportunities our guys and girls are going to get, and the fact that the boxing world is now looking at Australian boxing in a very favourable way. A lot of fans, promoters, managers, whatever it might be, are taking a very close look at Aussie boxers, and that's probably highlighted the most when you look at, apart from Tim and Nikita with No Limit, and I suppose you throw Liam Wilson and Sam Goodman in there as well, that a lot of, or most of those other top fighters that I just reeled off before aren't even with No Limit. They're all with other promoters and teams. So that shows that the world of boxing is looking at Australia. So guys, that is going to do it today. Hope you have a great day, and we'll catch you tomorrow.